Hello students, today we are going to learn the chapter Air, chapter 4. Our earth is surrounded by a huge blanket of air called atmosphere. All living beings on earth, they depend on the atmosphere for their survival. It provides us with the air which we breathe and it also protects us from the harmful effects of the sun rays. Without this blanket of protection, we would be baked alive by the heat of the sun during the day and get frozen during the night. So it is this mass of air that has made the temperature on earth liable. That means our atmosphere is the one which is protecting ourselves and making the situations liable for living. Composition of the atmosphere. Do you know that the air we take in while breathing is actually a mixture of many gases? Nitrogen and oxygen are the two gases which make up the bulk of the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide, helium, ozone, argon and hydrogen, they are all found in lesser quantities. Apart from these gases, tiny dust particles are also present in the air. The pie chart gives you the percentage of different constituents of air. So getting to the pie chart, in which we can see that oxygen constitutes 21% of the total composition, nitrogen constitutes 78% of the total composition, carbon dioxide constitutes 0.03% of the total composition, argon constitutes 0.93% of the total composition, and all the other gases constitute 0.04% of the composition. So that is the composition of the air we live in. Nitrogen is the most plentiful gas in the air. When we inhale, we take some amount of nitrogen into our lungs and also exhale it to some extent. But plants need nitrogen for their survival. They cannot take nitrogen directly from air. Bacteria that live in the soil and roots of some plants, they can take nitrogen from the air and can change its form so that plants can use it. Oxygen is the second most plentiful gas in the air, so that which is very much clear that oxygen is some gas which is present in more amount. Humans and animals, they take oxygen from the air so that they can breathe. Green plants produces oxygen during photosynthesis, and in this way oxygen content in the air remains constant. If we cut trees, that then this balance get disturbed, and hence we are asked and we are advised never to cut the trees. Carbon dioxide is another important gas. Green plants use carbon dioxide to make their food and release oxygen. Humans or animals release carbon dioxide. The amount of carbon dioxide released by humans or animals seems to be very much equal to the amount of we used by the plants, which make a perfect balance. However, the balance is upset by burning of fuels such as like coal and oil, and they all are the billions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere each year. As a result, this increases the volume of carbon dioxide is very affecting the earth weather and climate. Structure of atmosphere. Our atmosphere is divided into 5 layers starting from the earth's surface. These are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. Starting with troposphere. Troposphere is a layer of the most important part of atmosphere. Its average height is 13 km. The air we breathe exists here. Almost all the weather phenomena like rainfall, fog and hailstorm occur in this layer. Stratosphere. Stratosphere, above the troposphere lies the stratosphere. It extends up to a height of 50 km, and this layer is almost free from clouds and associated weather phenomena, making conditions most ideal for flying aeroplanes. One important feature of troposphere is that it contains a layer of ozone gas. We have just learned how it protects us from the harmful effect of the sun rays. Mesosphere. This is the third layer of the atmosphere and it lies above the stratosphere. It extends up to the height of 80 km. Meteorites burns up in this layer on entering from the space. Thermosphere. In thermosphere, temperature rises very rapidly with increase in height. Ionosphere is also the part of its layer. It extends between 80 to 400 km. This layer helps in radio transmission. In fact, radio waves transmitted from the air are reflected back to the earth by this layer. Exosphere. The uppermost layer of the atmosphere is also known as exosphere. This layer has very thin air, light gases like helium and hydrogen float into the space from there. Weather and climate. It's going to be going to rain today, so will it be bright and sunny today? How many times have we heard this from anxious cricket fans speculating the fate of the one-day match? If we imagine our body to be a radio and find its speaker, weather is something that fiddles mind its speaker. Weather is something that fiddles with its control knobs. Weather is is this hour-to-hour, day-to-day condition of the atmosphere. A hot or humid weather may make one irritable. A pleasant, breezy weather may make one cheerful and even plan for any outing. Weather can change dramatically from day to day, and however, the average weather condition of a place for a longer period of time represents the climate of a place. Now, do you understand why we have daily weather forecasts? Yes, of course, because weather is something which changes day to day, and climate is something which is constant for some months. Temperature. The temperature we feel every day is the temperature of the atmosphere actually. It's not the temperature of our body. The degree of hotness and coldness of the air is known as the temperature. The temperature of the atmosphere changes not only between day and night, but also from seasons to season. Summers are hotter than winters. An important factor that influences the distribution of temperature is insolation. Insolation is the incoming solar energy intercepted by the earth. The amount of insolation decreases from the equator towards the poles, and therefore the temperature decreases in a same manner. Now, do you understand why poles are to be covered with the snow? If the Earth's atmosphere rises too high, it would become too warm for some crops to grow. And temperature at the same time in cities is too much higher than in the villages. The concrete and metals in the buildings are the asphalt of the roads gets heated up during the day. This heat is released during the night, and also the crowded high-rise buildings of the cities tap the warm air and thus rise the temperature of the cities. Air pressure. You will have been surprised to know that air above presses us with a great force on our bodies. However, we don't even feel it. This is because the air presses us from all the directions and our body exerts a counter pressure. Air pressure is defined as the pressure exerted by the weight of air on the Earth's surface, and as we go up of the layer of the atmosphere, the pressure falls rapidly. The air pressure is the highest at the sea level and that decreases with height. Horizontally, the distribution of air pressure is influenced by temperature of air at a given place. In areas where temperature is high and air gets heated and rises, this creates a very low pressure area. Low pressure is associated with cloudy skies and wet weather. In areas having lower temperature, the air is cold. It is therefore heavy. Heavy air sinks and creates a high pressure. High pressure is associated with clear and sunny skies. The air always moves from high pressure areas to the low pressure areas. Wind. The movement of air from a higher pressure area to a lower pressure area is called wind. You can see wind at work as it blows dry leaves down the pavement or uproots trees during a storm. Sometimes when the wind blows gently, you can even see it blowing away smoke of fine dust. And at times, wind can be strong that it is difficult to walk against it. You must have experienced it is not easy to walk against it. It is easy to hold an umbrella on a windy day. And think of some other examples when strong winds have created problems for you. Winds can be broadly divided into three types: permanent winds, seasonal winds, local winds. So, getting started with permanent winds, the trade winds, westerlies and easterlies are the permanent winds. These blow constantly throughout the year in the particular direction. Seasonal winds. These winds change their direction in different seasons. For example, monsoons in India. Local winds. These blow only during a particular period of the day or year in the small area. For example, land and sea breezes. Do you recall the hot and a dry local wind of the northern plain of India? It is called Lu. Cyclone. Nature's fury. Odisha, located on the eastern sea coast of India, is prone to cyclones that originate in the Bay of Bengal. On 17-18 October 1999, cyclone hit 5 districts of the state. Another super cyclone occurred on the 29th of October 1999 that devastated large proportions of the state. The damages caused were mainly due to 3 factors: wind velocity, rain and tidal surge. The wind of up to 260 km per hour lasted for over 36 hours. These high velocity winds uprooted trees and damaged the kacha houses. Rooftops of several industrial sheds and other houses were also blown away. Power supply and telecom lines snapped completely. Heavy rain occurred under the influence of the cyclone for 3 days continuously, and these rains led to flooding of the major river of Odisha. The cyclonic winds caused tidal waves that swept 20 kilometers. Island air brought massive destruction to the coastal areas. The 7 to 10 kilometer high tidal wave intruded suddenly and caused massive damage to the standing paddy crops. The cyclone originated as a depression in the Gulf of Thailand, near east to the port of Port Blair on 25th of October 1999 and gradually moved in the northern western direction. It is intensified into the super cyclone and hit the area between Erasama and Balikunda in Odisha on 29th of October at 10:30 am. The super cyclone swept the entire coast of Odisha, including the cities of Bhubaneswar and Cuttack and 28 coastal towns. About 13 million people were affected and a large number of livestock were killed. Standing crops of paddy, vegetables, and fruits were heavily damaged, and due to the salination caused by the tidal surge, large tracts of agricultural land have turned infertile. Large tracts of sal, teak, bamboo plantation have disappeared, and the mangrove forest between Paradeep and Konark vanished. Moisture. When water evaporates from land in different water bodies, it becomes water vapor. Moisture in the air at any time is known as humidity. When the air is full of water vapor, we call it a humid day. As the air gets warmer, its capacity to hold the water vapor increases, and so it becomes more and more humid. On the humid day, clothes are taken longer to dry and sweat from our body does not evaporate easily, making us feel very comfortable. When the water vapor rises, it starts cooling. The water vapor condenses, causing formation of droplets of water. Clouds are just massive of such water droplets, and when these droplets of water become too heavy to float in the air, then they come down as precipitation. Jet planes flying in the sky leave a white trail behind them, and the moisture from their engines condenses, and we see trails of these condensed moisture from some time where there is no air in time movement to disturb it. Precipitation that come down to the earth in a liquid form is called rain. Most of the groundwater comes from rainfall. Plants help to preserve water. When trees on the hillsides are cut, rainwater flows down the bare mountains and can cause flooding of the low-lying areas. And on the basis of the mechanism, there are three types of rainfall: the conventional rainfall, the orographic rainfall, and the cyclonic rainfall. Figure 4.5 describes all the three types of rainfall. The first one is a cyclonic rainfall. The second one is a relief or orographic rainfall. The third diagram depicts the conventional rainfall. Rainfall is very important for the survival of plants and animals. It brings fresh water to the earth's surface. If rainfall is less, water scarcity and drought occur, through which we have to follow certain measures to save ourselves from water scarcity. On the other hand, if it is more, flood can take place, which can destroy entire life. On the basis of the chapter explained now, we are going to solve some exercise. Answer the following question. Take the correct answer, match the following, and give reasons. Thank you. I hope you all understand the chapter.